I consider myself a competitive person in anything I do, whether it's racing, playing video games, doesn't matter. I'm just a competitive person, and it's probably not one of my most endearing qualities, but it is who I am.
It's weird. I don't mind losing to anybody in track mod because they're all fantastic. Everybody is really talented. I never feel bad about it. It's not like, you know, everybody's an incredible driver, but I still want to win. And I want to win even more because everybody's an incredible driver, to kind of be able to kind of sneak out a win against a Viper ACR or a Corvette or something like that would be amazing.
When I was a kid, I raced BMX bicycles. I raced remote control cars. You know, I've always rode four-wheelers and jet skis. So I think the competitive nature is there. You know, everybody here is competitive, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
I'm insanely competitive, and that's part of my problem. I get obsessive over it. I absolutely despise coming in second, and that's been me my whole life with karting, with sports, with anything. And that's why I had to jump into time attack, because HPD was fun, and I've instructed for a while now, and it's fun watching other people learn and develop. But for me, it was just, I needed to feed that competitive side.
What started out as a program where really it was just us and a hobby and, you know, really just having a blast at the track with our friends. But then something changed where we started getting faster, we started breaking records, and then you get into this competitive nature where you want to one-up the next guy. And at that point in time, the competitive side does really take over. Each year we've had something that we want to attain, and really that's our goal, is to work towards to try and beating that time, and it almost becomes a focus where you're like, this is the lap time now I have to beat.
135.996. It's the street overall record.
133.066. That is the street mod record. That's what I'm here to try to beat.
128.8.
128.8, somewhere in there. 128.87 to be exact. Like I don't know that.
119.509.
119.509. That's the reason we're here this weekend.
Time trial. Qualifying. Time attack. A form of motorsport where the opponent isn't a person, it's a number. For Luke McGrew and Chris Boersma this weekend, that number is 128.877.
Luke McGrew here, driving the 2016 Viper ACR in track mod. Kumo sponsored car, Wesley Motorsport, Bill Steen. My goals for the weekend are to try to break the track record, which should be, I think, well within reach. I believe the track record was set by Jeremy Swinson last year, 128.8, somewhere in there, 128.87 to be exact. I'm hoping I can get my car in the 127s, that's the goal. But anywhere under the 128.8 is fine with me.
I'm Chris Boersma from Team K-Tune, Boersma Racing, and I race Honda Civic in track mod. The record right now is a 128.8, and that's what everybody's going to be trying to beat this week. It's fast. So 28 around here is a very, very fast lap. It's a lot of commitment in places where you can get out of shape pretty quickly and eat a wall, and yeah, anything sub 30 here is very impressive. So we're trying to kind of get to those times. 28 I think is maybe possible for us this weekend based on how good the car has been lately, but it's going to require some more commitment on my part to kind of get down to those lap times.
Luke and Chris, competitors in the track mod class, will both be chasing the same time, but their cars couldn't be more different. Luke's Dodge Viper is mostly stock, and Chris's Civic couldn't be further from it.
I always wanted a Viper since I was younger, you know, as everybody maybe, or everybody my age. So when they came out with the ACR, I ordered one of those, and that's what I've been in since 2016. The car is up at 13,000 miles now, which probably 8 or 9 are all on track, maybe a little bit more. So it's a really well balanced car to drive. It just doesn't tolerate a whole lot of risk or errors. They kind of do what you tell them to do, and if you tell them to do something wrong, they do it wrong. If you tell them to do something right, they do it right. Everything's coming at high speed. There's a lot of aerodynamic grip. It's not super light. It's, you know, 3,400 pounds without me in it. My car has been modified, so it's making not quite 700 wheel, probably 690. But just an absolute great car to drive fast, and holds together, knock on something, tires here, holds together quite well. You know, it's a lot of brakes, tires, so change oil. It's kind of like a factory car. It's nice to have something you don't have to work on constantly.
This car is a Econo box. It was never meant to go 160 mile an hour, you know, on down a straightaway. So there's a whole bunch of weird things that we encountered that we never thought we would. And it's just kind of one of those things, you know, we're battling things in a car that was never designed to do this. Where some of the other platforms, they were meant to be on track and kind of be, you know, a lot faster than where we are. Car on the dyno made 785 to the wheels. We have not been able to run it at that power level yet, because that was at 33 pounds of boost, and most we've gone up to this weekend is 28. So we're probably somewhere in the high 6s, low 7s right now.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure the track record here was set by Jeremy Swenson's the 128.877, and my whole goal is to beat that. It's kind of like dangling a carrot out in front of you, you know? If you're close to it and you think you can get there, I mean, it's almost like a driven thing that you want to get it. If you're a mile away, you're like, oh, there's no way I can get there. But when you're really close, I think that drive, we're talking tenths sometimes, and you know it's there to get, you want to try to get it, and that's my really only goal.
It's like an addiction. It's just like you gotta go that little bit faster. I gotta go that little bit faster, and I don't like losing. That's the crappy part about time attack, because it's very binary in time attack. There's no second place. It's you won, you set a record, or you lost, and that's the feeling that you get a lot of times. It's not fun. And when I leave the track and we've lost, it still might be smiles. You still might have good memories and things like that, but I gotta come back. I gotta win. I gotta do that.
I think there's a certain amount of hours per minute of driving that starts to really change things, right? It's not like, you know, when you used to work, you know, rent your car for an hour to get it ready for an event, you'd think, this is really fun. I had a fun day today. You know, it didn't necessarily go like we wanted it to, but it was fun. When you start getting into the point where you work on the car for 200 or 300 hours to drive it for 4 or 5 laps, you can't just say that was fun and not remember that you stayed up every night late for 2 weeks before an event prepping it, and then it was like, oh wow, the track was fun. I went 3 seconds slower than what we came here to do, but the track was fun. That's not in the equation anymore. .119.509 is the reason for time attack. It's the reason we do what we do. 119.509 is the overall time attack track record here, and at this level with cars like ours is the whole reason for the car existing. If the car is not chasing the record, there's no point in coming.
James Houghton, a seasoned competitor in the unlimited class, the fastest class in Gridlife time attack, returns to Road Atlanta with his sights still set on the overall record, a record held by Will Al-Young.
We're here this weekend, obviously, to try and chase down our own record at 119.509. We have really high expectations. We've prepared the car really well. We definitely have some improvements over last time, so just trying to get the best time we can.
I think that every record becomes soft in time attack. Some might take a year to become soft, some might take 2. The way that technology is changing so quickly in time attack, the way the cars are developing, it is unbelievable how fast that you go from 1 year and think that record is unattainable, and the next year you go, oh, I wonder how much we're going to try to beat that by next year. Will's records that he set in 2018 were all significant. They were all very fast times. Do I think they're going to stay around forever? No.
I think the reality is as racers, we're never happy with our performance. It's very hard to do a perfect lap when you have 850 horsepower and you're pulling 2.5 Gs through corners. It's not like we're Le Mans drivers that are coming into Honda Civics. These are literally the fastest cars we've ever driven in our lives every time we go out, basically.
The first sessions of the weekend are slow for James and Will. Of course, slow is relative. A 1:27 from James still puts him at the fastest lap of the weekend so far, but it's 8 seconds from where he wants to be. Will's first session is problematic, with a blown axle boot and an aggressive curb cutting his lap short. A slow lap for James and Will is a fast lap by anyone else's standards, though. Luke McGrew proves that in the first session.
Yeah, so actually the track mod record has been reset as of this morning. Luke McGrew in the Viper ACR actually wound up going 28.3, and he broke Jeremy Swenson's old record for track mod. And I suspect that record's going to fall a few more times before the end of this event.
I broke the track record by, I don't know, half a second, roughly. I did it on the third lap, first session. And this track, you know, turn 12 and turn 1, you just don't show up here and go through them full bore. So later on the session, actually was probably 5 miles an hour faster through 12. So hopefully the next session we can go a little faster, just try to move that record down because it's never safe.
Track Mod and Unlimited aren't the only classes with records to beat. Charles Miller in the Power Stop Street class and Dewey DeWitt in FCP Euro Street Mod will chase their respective records this weekend in some of the most competitive classes Gridlife offers. But one Time Attack driver this weekend has no goal to chase. For 2019, Gridlife has introduced the new Street GT class, which now visits Road Atlanta for its first time. This weekend, Kobe Shield will create the benchmark for this class.
I'm Kobe Shield. I drive the ESG Racing Fried Chicken Camaro. Time Attack is really new to me, but I decided to go for it. So Street GT is a good class for higher horsepower NA V8s and Turbo 6s. It makes for a good time because all of us are running pretty much Camaros, Corvettes, Mustangs. It's big tires, big motors, and just a good time. And I hope it grows more just because there aren't a ton of people in the class yet. And I think as Gridlife promotes it more, it'll be a lot more fun as more people get into it. I'm driving a 2018 Camaro SS1 LE. It's mostly stock, other than a couple OEM aero parts, and I'm just running aftermarket wheels and tires, and that's pretty much it other than an intake. So I'm down a little bit on horsepower to the competition, but it makes for a fun time to try and make up that deficit. So the track record that was at Road Atlanta previously was street class. That's the closest comparison we have, but we didn't have one for Street GT, so we're here to try and set one. For street, I think it was a 135.9, and so today, right in the first session, we laid down a 135.5, so I was really excited about that, and we're sitting first in class. It would be amazing to hold the track record at Road Atlanta the first year of Street GT, so we'll just have to see how it goes and see if we can finish the day strong.
When you're really on a lap at Road Atlanta, you know, when the car is forced to the exit of 1, if you drive into the S's flat, up over the rumble strips on the exit of 5, like totally crashing over that, violent in the car, braking at the 200 marker down the back straight at 170 miles an hour, trying to get as close to flat as possible down through 12. These are all things that are, you know, indications when you're in the car that this is going to be a good one.
For James, the final session of Friday was a pretty good one. He sets the fastest time of the weekend so far at a 1:23.505. By all accounts, a fast time, but still far from where he wants to be. Things are more problematic for Will L. Young and his Civic.
So I'm heading down the back straight, doing 160 miles an hour, coming down the hill into the turn 10 braking zone. I can hear my splitter just dragging on the ground. I didn't know what was quite going on. I hit the brakes and the car braked okay. And I turn left into 10A, no problem. I turn right into 10B and the car just goes straight off the track into the gravel pits. The tow truck people came by and they're like, oh yeah, you got a flat tire, bad flat. So that was pretty eventful.
Yesterday's misfortune can't keep Will down though. In the first session of the day, Will runs a 22, the fastest time of the weekend. And by the second session, he's on pace to shatter his own record.
This was it, you know, this is we're gonna lay down a flag here. Everything seemed great, car was working good, turned up the boost, and headed turn 12 basically harder than I've ever driven. And then headed into turn 1, you know, knowing that, you know, from previous sessions I could brake a little bit deeper, carry a little bit more speed into 1, and so that's what I attempted to do. And even then, I still overbroke a little bit, And at that point in time, I was like, man, I lost a few miles an hour. I could have carried a little bit more momentum through here. Got into 2, into 3, and the car's feeling great at this point in time. The grip of the Hoosiers was phenomenal. I could feel it right off the bat. Got down the back straight, and I think we were pushing a little water into the system because it started missing a few times. Just sitting, went down into 10, brake deeper than I ever have, probably in my whole entire life. Went through 10A, 10B beautifully, carried that momentum into 12, and in my mind I'm like, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift. I don't know if I lifted, I'm gonna have to look at the data, I really can't remember, but I remember it was fast, and just gave her all the way through the start-finish line. As we're coming down the front straight, my warning light comes on, low oil pressure, 10 to 15 PSI, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's no good, shut it down. Honestly, it didn't feel that fast. You know, with the mistakes I made, I was like, it was probably a 21-second lap. We reach our pits, and one of my guys high-fives me, which is a good thing. And he's like, yeah, you did a 19.9. And I was like, what, really? He's like, yeah. And then, you know, you think back, it's like, wow, that probably could have been a low 19 if I didn't make those couple little errors there. To be able to come away with, you know, a new Gridlife time attack record, to get another sub 20-second lap at Road Atlanta, it's amazing. It was an elation. It felt amazing. I think the only thing that's disappointing is you know, you look and it's like, man, I got to come back. You know, we got to get that 18-second time. Like it's available. It's there. The potential of the car is 100% unbelievable. How much faster it still can go.
In the same session that Will takes the Gridlife track record and nearly resets his own overall record, Luke McGrew will go faster again. He knew there was more time left in that Viper, and he's now proved it. But these fast laps come at a cost. Will Young's Civic motor failed immediately following his 119, and the differential in Luke's Viper broke shortly after his 127. Simultaneously, James Houghton's Integra cracks its sequential transmission.
So I went over the curbing really aggressively yesterday coming out of 5 and cracked the transmission case. So when the guys were getting ready to address that problem, they noticed that the water pump was leaking as well. So it's just, you know, everything happens at the same time.
Eager to become more comfortable in the further modified Civic and catch up to Luke McGrew, Chris Boersma has begun to push harder, but he finds issues as well.
We did a brake bleed and kind of got the car really fresh, and then I went out there, and on my second lap I was actually passing my teammate James Houghton, top of 4th gear, up the back straight at 9200 RPM, and all I heard was just the loudest bang, and the car shut off. And I tried to refire the car, like there was nothing. So I thought I had windowed the block, and then when we got towed back in, Eric took a look at it. There was no holes in the block, there was no oil anywhere when we got the hood off, and then it turned out there was actually a relay in our fuse box that actually popped out. So we pushed that back in, car fired right back up. Oh my God. Oh my God. And we're good to go. So we live to fight another day. I've never been so excited in my entire life. Thank you.
With a functional car, Chris is able to set a new personal best going sub 30.
It was the best feeling. I actually thought I did it on the second lap because the timer said on the dash that it was like a 29.9 or something, and the timing system picked it up as like a 30 flat. So I had to do a cool down lap and then attack again, and we actually managed to go even faster. And that feeling inside the car was just absolutely unbelievable. It felt perfect.
At the end of day 2, Will and Luke have set Gridlife records and have been rewarded with broken cars. They're done for the weekend. James's team will scramble to fix his Integra in time for the next morning's session. Chris will not rest and will try to improve on his personal best tomorrow. Kobe has been hunting a faster time all weekend, and he only has one more chance to set a high bar for the new Street GT class. It all comes down to the final session tomorrow morning.
We couldn't ask for better weather. It's nice and cool outside. There's a little bit of mist, so the track was nice and cold. So it was the best weather we had all weekend, and it was the fastest track we had all weekend, so it was pretty incredible. The car felt really good. I went a bit lower on tire pressure, and I went out with almost no gas, and I knew Jackie Ding was coming for me. He's not even in the same class, but I knew he was coming for me because he wanted to see what the new Supra could do. So it's pretty cool to see stock versus stock just on tires. It felt a little rough. I had a few misshifts to the first few laps, and I really couldn't find the time. I think my fastest time was like a 1:35.7, so I did one cool down lap and decided to just go for it. I wanted to see the 34s all weekend, but I couldn't do it. I was touching low 35s all weekend, and then out of nowhere, very last lap of the session, I broke a little bit later in a few places, and the car stayed together, thank God. I didn't go off course, and it just all came together. I'm freaking stoked because the 34.5's faster than I thought I would run this weekend, so blew my expectations out of the water.
Let's go! Let's go! Yeah!
Kobe's fast lap will be the only improvement of Sunday morning. Despite working late into the night, halfway through his first lap, James experiences another transmission failure.
It's the most discouraging thing in the world. You know, you put crazy amount of hours in it, everything's good, you go testing at home first, and you come here and you end up with problems that weren't showing up on your home track. That's the way it goes sometimes. Gridlife is awesome, but you know, 17-hour tow home with a broken car that's got to get to the track again in 13 days. That's not fun.
2 weeks from now, Road America will host Gridlife's 2019 finals, and James won't be the only one taking a broken car home for repairs.
First thing is we got to get home, assess what exactly is wrong with the engine. Hopefully we can fix it in time. If we can't fix it in time, plan B is obviously get a new motor built and try and make it out to Road America. It really only gives us about a week turnaround time to try and figure everything out, which doesn't give us that much time.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of time. 2 weeks, we're at Road America with Gridlife for the finale of the season, I guess. We are looking to win the championship. So that will be quite the event to watch because I think everybody else will become, full tilt to try to win that championship.
Charles Miller will come away with a win in the Power Stop Street class, and Dewey DeWitt will place 3rd overall in the FCP Euro Street Mod.
I had a really, really good first session. I got within 4/10 of the record. There was a lot of failure, but honestly, with the lap that I did turn, I'm going to consider there to be a lot of success.
Marcos ran a 29 here. I know we can run a 29. We built the car to go after that record. So 129 or bust.
A 34.567 out of this car. I mean, it's basically stockish. Drove it 5 hours here. A 34.5, and he drove it to the track. And that is our P1.
So 134.567, that's the record and the new goal, so we'll see how it goes next year.
27.99, that's the new record.
127.990, that's the new track mod record that has to be beat.
119.509, that's still the goal. That's not just a for here goal. Everywhere we go, every time we drive, the goal is to set the overall time attack track record with that car.
119.509. That's still the record, still the time to beat. We definitely have the capabilities of it. Gonna rebuild again, come back out here and go after it one more time.
After a weekend of non-stop mechanical failures and record-breaking laps, our competitors set their sights on the end game. Gridlife finals at the historic, fast, unforgiving Road America.